Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, how are you?
Oh, I'm great today. How are you, sir?
I, I'm great. I got to be on my phone still because I got the new computer. Didn't think to buy myself a camera because I'm so used to being on a laptop. Now that it's a desktop, I didn't think buy a camera. And I have the other camera, but the other camera's for work, and it doesn't. I don't have a live connection with it. I use the SD card. So unless you wanted to record this for later, hey, you're gonna have to read me some of these because the camera.
Mr. Denisi, how are you, sir?
I was just looking at your damn page. Somebody asked you today, "Where's Robert Denisi been?" I went and look. I see my man Denisi's been buying fur coats, dude. He's rolling into deep with the cash. Joey V is here, and he wants to thank Carmine for picking him up a golden WrestleMania title for free. No problem, bro.
But how could that be? Because you're a scumbag piece of garbage. I thought.
Platinum, what's going on? So,
Hello, sir. How are you tonight? So, yes, we have some stuff to discuss, don't we? Yeah.
we are the new hobby order or something corny like that.
We're the new hobby burger. I'd like a burger. I'd be having that right now. Yeah.
You like to place an order? What is your name? Let's see what your name is. I got scumbag. I was going to make mine golden Carmine. Look,
Yeah, scumbags. By association, I'm a scumbag.
let's address the elephant in the room. And no, I'm not talking about Gianni's girlfriend. I want to talk. I was told that if I say his name, they pounce.
Right now.
I want to address the elephant in the room, which is Carmine bought a lot of golden titles. So everybody's mad that Carmine and AJ Sparks and some other people bought 5 WrestleMania championships. Here's the truth. I gave my friends X amount of money, gave all my friends X amount of money to put in their bank accounts. I told them when it was going live because I knew when the golden title was going live because I got those connections like that. I knew when it was going live exactly. But I didn't find out till recently. I'll say that. And I gave my friends a bunch of money, and I got 5, and Mike got 5, and some other people got 5. So actually, I got 20. So if you really want to be pissed at me, if you're really itchy pissed at me, there you go. I got 20 of them. I sold, well, the people that were getting theirs from me got them either at regular price or discounted or in some cases free. But because I don't want to make a massive profit. Here's the thing. I priced them at a certain price so that I could take care of my friends and get mine for free, basically. And so they're all sold except for one. One is still sitting on eBay that has to be sold. Why? Well, I put them in the hobby. My post in some groups was taken down because you have to have the item in hand. I respect the rule.
Yeah.
I know it in some of the groups I was in, but I respect the rule. I told them if it's not allowed, take it down. Go ahead, because I wanted to get
like tomorrow, but
I'll put
whatever.
it up tomorrow. They'll be in my hands tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I wanted to give people in the hobby first crack at getting the belts. Well, they whined and bitched and complained like little girls. So now they can go to eBay and pay the sales tax and pay all the other shit that goes along with it and still give me the $2,000 that I'm asking for. And in some cases more. The ones that I have, Mercari, eBay, they sold. So I got one left. The price is $2,000. It is not negotiable. If you're watching this right now, and
Well,
Joe's calling me while we're on live.
Yeah.
If you're watching this right now and you want one, contact me. You can get the last one. There's one left. We'll post it in here so I see it. So you're first come, first serve because I've got one left.
One left.
I do have another connection, and I will be getting a signed one as well because I can cry about it. Literally cry about it. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm enjoying the hobby. I'm getting one for myself. That's it. And the signed ones, there's going to be like 15 signed. I swear to you, I said to Mike today, I think I might buy all 15 just to piss everybody off. Just make it all 15 of them.
Yeah.
I'll sell it for whatever price I want. Because cry about it. Okay, look, at the end of the day, I can do what I want to do with my hobby. You understand? And you could do what you want to do with yours. And here's the thing: if you don't pay, listen, if I didn't get it, I wouldn't pay $2,000 for it. And the reason is because I got last year's. So I wouldn't have cried if I didn't get this year's. I will not pay the price for the Snoop Dogg belt. Won't do it because I don't need it. And also, it would lock me into then I'd have to get one every year. And this year, Mike, was a pain in the ass because before we knew the date that it was coming out and the time, before we had that information, we
Absolutely.
were on WWE Shop. What did that say? Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We were on WWE Shop every day, me and Mike. We would take a 10-minute break from work because we knew what time, but we didn't know the day. And we would check and refresh and refresh and refresh.
Back and forth between Fanatics, WWE Shop, because surprisingly, Fanatics actually usually put them up first, even by a couple minutes. WWE Shop, so back and forth, back and forth. One of us would check one of us would check the other every day for weeks.
I was hoping it was going to be a 50 limit again this year, but it was 750. Look, listen, you're mad at me? I got 20. Okay, great. You had 730 other opportunities to get it. I'm not the guy to be mad at. And you're mad that I bought it for $845 and I'm selling it for $2,000. I understand that. I understand that because you've listened to years of Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and you think communism is the bee's knees. Understood. You don't like capitalism. Great. Here's the thing. Where are your angry letters to WWE Shop, who makes these belts for about $100 and sells them for $750, $850, $1,000?
Yeah, why is it okay for them to make a massive profit, more than you would be making technically, based upon what you paid versus what your return is? Why is it able? Why are they the good guys here when they massively overinflate the price?
But let's not just talk about WWE Shop. Want to buy a Gucci bag? Gucci bag costs about $25 to make, sells for about $3,000. Louis Vuitton, same thing, right? How much does it cost to make a Porsche? Well, about a tenth of what you're paying for it. You're paying about 10 times the cost of making it. That's capitalism. That's it. Do you walk into Walmart and go, hey, the manufacturer price on that was only $5.95 and you're selling it for $20? No, you don't. But you feel like you know me, you know the other people in the hobby that bought them, and so it's not fair that we would make a profit. Look, dude, the people that are bitching, the truth is, if you could do it, you'd do it too, because that's capitalism. That's the system you were raised in, unless you really believe in communism. Now, Mike, I'm going to tell this story. I don't normally tell these stories. Mike, you're on the phone with me when this happens. A couple weeks ago, guy was in my house installing my cable, admiring my belts, had an extra one laying around, handed it to the guy. I was like, enjoy. And he was so happy. And to me, that's my payment. Like, he was so happy that I was so happy, right?
Well, I have a question about that. Did you hoodwink him into taking that belt? I mean,
I don't think that guy even watches these anymore, bro.
Or what was the term? Wasn't hoodwink. I always forget that word.
Duped.
You duped. Did you dupe him into taking a championship belt? Did you?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was
okay, yeah.
Classic. Today, there's a guy in my house, his dad, big fan of wrestling, and he took his dad and he showed him, around the house, and all these belts. And then the dad was like, oh, I really want the Shawn Michaels on white leather. I wish I can get that someday, the Intercontinental. I was like, I got you. I ordered it from my maker today. I was like, I got you. You'll have it in about 8 weeks. Told the other guy, he's like, yeah, he told him, because I asked him what his favorite was. He said the spinner. Bam, got him one from the shop. It's coming. He's going to get it. That's the shit I do on a day-to-day basis. Had another person wanted a belt. Mike had an extra one. Mike sent it in to me. We gave it to that person for free. That's the shit we do on a day-to-day basis while you're calling us assholes. We do that shit all the time. As far as charity and giving away stuff to people, I do that shit all the fucking time. And I don't talk about it because you're not supposed to talk about your good works. You're not supposed to talk about charitable things you do. But I do it.
I don't talk about because I'm not looking for anything in return. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for all the praise and all that kind of
Correct.
shit. What we do is what we do. But you know what? I mean, I watched between when I was working today, I watched this guy get like savaged today by multiple people. A scumbag, piece of shit, piece of garbage, talking about his girlfriend, talking about this, talking about that.
I didn't see the girlfriend stuff.
Yeah, over a wrestling belt, and
That's
I'm
cool.
like, you know, what you know,
One of my one of my friends just said to me on Messenger, he's like, "You effing love the hate, don't you?" I'm like, "I kind of do."
well, in this case, let's go. You know, let's do it. Let's call these freaking people out.
I don't
Bullshit.
get mad. It's a tantrum. They're having a tantrum, and I understand you're upset you didn't get one. I understand. I'd be upset if I didn't get one.
And listen, I kept have, if you will, keeping whatever you want to say, one for myself because I was like, you know what, I want one. I want one of these golden titles, just one. You know, I don't need one from
And they're
every
really
year.
beautiful.
Yeah,
They're
this
really
one
beautiful.
this one I think looks really good. I don't need one for every year. I won't, unless it's the most gorgeous belt that's ever been created somehow next year. I won't be looking for next year's. You know, I got
Yeah,
one.
this one might be my favorite. They're gonna do it every year, which I think,
Yes.
like get it next year. But I don't. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get one every year because I didn't get the Snoop, and I'm not gonna pay the Snoop price. What is that? I didn't see what All Elite's in. Oh, hey, what's up, man?
And this is for you, sir.
Oh, thank you, man. I think so. Look, there's people in the hobby that I've helped and whatever, and the people that know me love me. The people that don't know me, you know what I let you see. You can hate me. I don't care. I don't care. I literally make my living off people hating me. So I don't care. I get savage. Mike can tell you I get savage every day. I showed Mike messages this week. I said, just so you know what comes into me on a different days. One message says just die. That was the message. Die. Other messages were like, they're gonna come find me, and like I get that shit every day. There's nothing you could say to me in the belt hobby that's going to make a lick of difference to me. There's nothing you could say to me that I'm gonna care. I
Here's
laugh.
two points I want to make. Number one, like you said earlier, you know, if they had the opportunity to get a bunch
Sure.
of these belts, they would sell them for price. Oh, hey, why don't you go on eBay or wherever else or other belt groups and hey, somebody who's selling like a Brian Danielson Eco belt for like $750.
Is that okay?
Why aren't you going after him?
How about the Romans? People are selling.
Yeah, why aren't you going after them? Why
Or the
is
Snoop Dogs.
and
How about the people that got the rated R spinner? Okay, they got the rated R spinner. And I ain't seen nobody attack them for trying to get 1,000, 1,500. Ain't seen one person attack a person somewhere. Well, you only paid 500. Well, yeah, supply and demand. They don't exist anymore. They're not making anymore. I had the rated R twice. Sold it for like $400 twice before it was a rare thing. Would not get it back because I hate the strap. It is like a piece of fucking wood. But if you are an Edge fan, if you are a collector and you want to get the rated R, get it. Now, if one came to me and it was already restoned and re-leathered, I might be interested. But I don't care. Like the rated R is not something I care about. It's not a thing for me. I got 2 Corey King tags this week. One is for sale, by the way, if anybody's looking for it. Um, I said 1,000, but I'm slightly negotiable on it. Very, very slightly negotiable on it. On the Corey King. If somebody wants to trade it for a golden, give me a golden that I could sell. I'll sell you the Corey. I'll sell a golden.
now here's thing number two though. Like you said though, they went. People bought them. So
Yeah.
guess what? People wanted them enough to spend that money. You know, I mean, you don't have to. You know, I missed out on last year's golden title. I missed out on the Snoop belt, although we all missed out on the Snoop belt because it was an event only.
Correct.
But here's the thing, I don't curse those who had it.
Well, Nick Carnivale has the Snoop belt, right?
I don't
He got it
curse
at the
him
WrestleMania.
and say you piece of shit. How
And there
dare
was
you
somebody at
him.
WrestleMania that year that asked me, it might have been Nick, said, "I'm here, do you want one?" I was like, nah, because I'm not really like a Snoop fan. I didn't know it was gonna become a thing.
Yeah.
But if I want, Nick doesn't want to sell it, but I'm sure if I wanted to buy it from him today, he'd be like, "Well, I want 4,000 or 3,000 or whatever," and that's fine. I'm sorry, it's very low.
No, the hobby's dead, is what it is. But
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll be talking about that again. Yeah. Yes, we're talking about the gold belt, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, but it is what it is. I'm still not interested in the Snoop. If I got a deal on it,
No, he's actually kind of more like John Cena. You people treated me. I did everything I could, and you people treated me like garbage.
He's right though. It's only if Carmine does it. It's thank you, Joe. It's only if Carmine does it do people get pissed. 100 other people can do it. They'll be like, get Carmine. So look, I draw that heat. I draw that heat. I accept that heat. I like that heat. So go ahead. If you're gonna yell at me, you're gonna get mad at me, you want to stomp your feet and tell me it's not fair. Go ahead. It's not gonna lower the price.
I will say this though, WWE Shop did do something very scummy. Very scummy. I will admit this.
I think there was a limit though, because remember when we tried to hit 5 at the same time?
Yeah,
we put, and then we when we went back, we couldn't do it. So we had to go to multiple shops. Fanatics, WWE Shop, Euro Shop. We had to go to multiple shops to get them all.
But what was real scummy was then about they sold out at least on WWE Shop and Fanatics. I'm not sure how long it took for Euro Shop.
3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes on Fanatics.
Well, I think about maybe
5,
7.5, something like that. It was definitely
was that wrong? Was it that long?
Yeah, it was that long. Yeah, because there was some. It was definitely under 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So then about 10 minutes after that, I get an email, WWE Shop available now, Golden Tide. I was like, wow, So most
people are hot about that, but if you've been paying attention to the Cena belts, you always get the email after the Cena belt sold out. If anybody's particularly interested in the Cena UK Championship, I know when that's dropping. I'm going to get about 17 of them. So if you want one, hit me up. What do they sell for? $750? I'll do it for $1,500. I'm kidding. I'm not getting 17 Cena. Oh. I might get a UK though. I might get one UK. I really like the colors. But here's the problem. I got what's this one? The Royal Rumble one? I got that. I got the Brussels. If I get the UK, it's the same belt, right? So at the end of the day, what I would do is pick which one do I like best, keep that one, and then get rid of all the others. Because otherwise, I have to go back. Like I skipped the Spain one. I would have to go back and get all those because my OCD would go nuts.
Yeah.
And so I'll debate tonight if I'm getting the UK or not. The thing is, I don't know what other ones are coming. If I knew what other ones were coming, like I want here's what I think, by the way.
Well, we already know that they put some on the side for signatures. So we know that's
correct. So I know 2 things. I know there's going to be about 15 that are going to be signed. And I might get all 15, and I'm not kidding about that. I might get all 15. Because I'm pissed. I'm sure, I'm sure I get talked off the ledge at some point. But right now, if they called me right now, I would get all 15 right now. Just because, and then I fucking piss on them. I don't give a fuck. Just so you can't have them. No, because I'm not pissed, but I'm like, be mad. You want to be mad at me? Be real mad at me.
When does the UK belt drop? Is that tomorrow?
I can't tell you.
Okay. I don't know.
Can't tell you. I mean, if I'm told, like, I can't tell you.
Okay.
I can't.
I actually don't know. I honestly don't know when it drops.
Yeah. I can't tell anybody. It's not because I'm privy to the information. I can't let it out.
And don't message me like asking me.
Don't message me.
No, because it's not like I'm trying to keep a secret here. It's because I legitimately don't know. I
don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. Yeah, because I don't care.
I told Mike about the Golden because he had to buy some for me.
Yeah, and I was interested in one for myself too. So that's
but I don't tell anybody because I'm trusted with that information, and so I'm not. I'm just not going to do that. And if you message me, I'm not going to tell you. I promise. I'm not. No matter how much I like you, no matter how much we're friends, because you have to know that if you tell me a secret, I'll also keep that shit. So. No, I can't do it, right? So, but if you want one, if you really are sure 100% you want one, you could just send me the money, and when I buy them, I'll get yours. I have no problem getting however many. No profit, no nothing. If you want the UK, just send me the money. I'll take care of it for you. And I'll have it, I'll ship it to your house. I'll pay the shipping. Don't even worry about it.
But why? So, I thought, why would you do such a thing?
I know, right? But I know that I thought, and I really believe this, and I think they should still do it. I don't know when the Cena WrestleMania belt's coming out, But that should be golden, bro. Make the spinner golden.
But you know what, though? I mean, then it kind of takes away from the specialness of just having the golden title. You know, the golden title is its own thing. Like, just
Not
keep.
really, because this is a Cena thing, but it's tour, so golden spinner.
Yeah, but then look at it this way, though. If let's hypothetically say you're somebody who is getting everyone because you love Cena. Cena's your god. You love him. He's your greatest wrestling god that's ever existed in your mind. Whatever. You know, it would look out of play. You know what I mean? If you'd have them, like, let's say if you had to display them, and then you'd have silver, silver, gold, silver, silver. You know.
Well, I was more talking about the strap.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, if they come out with a WrestleMania Vegas Winged Eagle and Attitude Era and all that shit, I'm not getting those. I got them last year for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, Joe. We're going back to the future here, buddy. Back to the future.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me that, like,
yeah, Joe, you're a scumbag too. You're another scumbag. We're all scumbags, man.
Yes. Why would you do that? Because that's life. People do that. That's how hobbies work.
Yes, you kind of did. The revelation, the bombshell was that Carmine's a scumbag. Yes. There we go. Yes, I know.
So
I know.
He knew that already, though. So, in fairness,
honestly, I think you made a better choice because I think the golden title will go up more in value than.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely it will. Because you got to understand the Cena. I don't think the Cena spinners are going to be that much money because there's so many of them, right? It's the same plates. It's just different straps. So. Man, people are going to make me buy the UK now.
I could see this happening. Actually, that would be a hell of a thing to do with the network logo in the middle.
We got other stuff to talk about too, but
this is the thing of the day. You know, the golden title and the freaking absolute
meltdown
form it caused by people. You know, by people buying more than one. You know,
I really think I'm going to get the UK spinner, bro. I think I'm gonna. I always like the color. It's red, white, and blue. It's red, white, and blue. It matches my Rolex. It matches my whole motif of patriotism, even though it's England. It's red, white, and blue. It matches the Pepsi Rolex. It's like I just like red, white, and blue. But I'm probably gonna sell the Brussels one if anybody's interested in the Brussels. Or maybe I'll cancel the Brussels, right? Because it didn't ship yet. That's what I'll do. I'll cancel Brussels. I'll get to UK.
Oh, so you hate the Germans now? Okay. Or Belgium.
But I like the Brussels colors though, but I like the Spain colors too, and I didn't get that. Like, there has to be a limit, and I only have so much room, and my girl is getting pissed. So, like,
they are going to have legitimately like 50 John Cena spinner belts this year. The rate they're going.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not going to get all of them. I said I would.
We're only in March, and they're up to like what, 8 or something already.
You thought I was getting the Spain, and when I skipped it, you were shocked.
I was shocked, yes,
because I'm not getting everyone.
See, Roy is like me. Okay, I got one part of the thing. That's it. You know, just like again,
I agree with that.
The titles. I'll have one, and that's really all I need is one.
Yeah, I think if I get them next year, the Goldens, they'll be just for resale. Like, I probably won't even keep one. Well,
here's something I thought about today, honestly, earlier. So,
God willing,
yeah, God help us all. But so the Snoop Dogg belt. Did we remember? Did we have a number on how many of them were made?
I don't know. They were just event exclusive. By the way, am I also a scumbag? Speaking of event exclusive, am I also a scumbag for having the Crown Jewel and the Royal Rumble ones, which were only sold at the events? Like,
I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, if somebody would come to you and say, "Hey, I want to buy that Crown Jewel one," and you're like, "Well, I'm selling it for $1,500." Yeah, even though
I think it goes for 25. I think it goes for 25. I saw it on eBay. The Royal Rumble's got to go for that much too, because they were only sold at the event. Snoop Dogg was only sold at the event, so I got to imagine maybe only 50 were made. Nick's got one. I can't imagine Nick would sell it for less than 4.
At this point, I'm assuming this is going to be their thing because this is the third WrestleMania in a row where they've had a version of this.
I think they will. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you missed it and you don't want to get this year's, you don't want to pay the price, wait a year.
Yeah. But so, okay, let's just hypothetically say that they made 50 Snoop Dogg belts. I don't know a number, but let's say 50.
It's hypothetical, yeah.
Yeah. We know for a fact last year, the WrestleMania Golden title was only limited to 50.
150 here, 50 there.
Okay, okay. Now, this year it was 750. So I'm thinking to myself, it might
750 though this year is the total.
yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, it might be a situation where only these early ones like end up actually being worth a value, because it seems like each year they're increasing the amount now.
I'm thinking that too.
So next year it could be 1,000. Year after that it could be 1,500. You know, I mean, it's still a small amount compared to the other belts that they put out there, but it's increasing with each year. So I'm thinking these early ones may be the only ones that actually hold any real value.
I was thinking that today. Yeah, I was thinking that today. It's possible, man. I mean,
Carmine would shit himself, literally.
if what? I would get it. 100%. I would get it. 100 million, zillion, trillion, billion %. I would get it.
Don't be giving them ideas, because then they'll be like, "Oh, we'll make a WrestleMania 3 one with the Hogan 86 plates."
That's what they'd have to use. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would get it. Sure.
For me, it would be the WrestleMania. For me, it would be the WrestleMania 6, probably with the Winged Eagle. You know, I'd have to get that one and stuff.
If they did Goldens of the Classics, I'd probably get those.
Oh yeah, don't worry. The makers will be pumping these out too. Speaking of which,
So I went on eBay. There's already several WrestleMania Goldens from Pakistan that look strikingly similar to what I saw in shop today. I mean, like the same exact pictures. So
yeah, it's almost like they took screenshots from shop and put them up or something.
They're gonna. Don't worry. Listen, don't worry. It's gonna look exactly like.
Absolutely, yeah. Right down to the perfect.
You can get, only like $150 too. So that's an option. That's an option.
And you too could buy 100 of those and sell them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And profit.
100 fucking pieces of garbage. But here's the thing. I didn't say, and this is what makes me mad, because this is not me. I didn't say I got 5 to brag. I didn't say I got 5 to rub it in people's faces. I'm not even like doing this tonight is just because, I was like, F you then. If you're going to have a tantrum, have a full tantrum. But like, it's capitalism. I said I got 5 because if people wanted some and they're available, I wanted people in the hobby to know. People in the hobby had a tantrum. Now they're not going to get first crack. Now they can go on eBay. Now they can pay $200 and something in sales tax. That's your choice. That was your choice to be little bitches and have a temper tantrum. That was your choice. I didn't choose that for you. So to me, I've seen people. Let me ask you a question. Reggie Parks, may he rest in peace, when he was alive, was $1,200 to get a belt from him. People paid $1,200 to get a belt from him. They're selling them now for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Where is your outrage, belt hobby? Where is the rage?
And it's not like these were like ring used or something.
No.
So like, it gains that value of actually being an actual wrestling belt.
Why ain't you angry about that? That's a fucking what? That's a way bigger markup than I'm doing.
It's a very good question.
Ain't no outrage. Nobody cares.
That's right.
And that one found out today. And I know for a fact, because I was talking to some people who are on the inside that know this shit in the hobby, that there are people respected in this hobby. I didn't even tell you this, Mike. Respected people that people go to and say, is this a real Reggie? That have been fictitiously saying, yes, this is a real Reggie, when they knew it wasn't a real Reggie the whole time, and selling it for Reggie prices.
By the way,
actually getting them made. And I'm talking about people in the hobby that have reputations as pure as the driven snow.
A shout out
for a fact, but I'm not saying a name.
A shout out to Roy Kolb. Yes, I'm promoting your pizza here for you tonight, buddy. Yeah. There you go.
That's very good. What is Roy's Pizza?
A movie you've never seen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze.
No, because I was a grown man when it came out.
So was I, and I still want to see it. So screw you.
I didn't care about, bro. I watched the Turtles cartoon when if there was nothing else on and I was bored, and I was equally bored watching the Turtles. It made no sense to me. They're mutant turtles that look like humans, but they're fast and they're ninjas. Didn't get it.
So the Crown Jewel belt was, it was only available in you're talking about the actual.
No, the actual Crown Jewel, the one you're talking about, I'm getting that made. That is by a Pakistani maker. But there was a Crown Jewel Network logo.
Yeah.
That was sold at the event.
Yeah, only there. And it goes for big bucks. Huge.
A friend of mine in the hobby gave me a really, really good deal on it. And I was, Mike Bonavoglia. I'm very I love saying his name. I'm very grateful to him. He's a great guy, and he got me that. And then, one of my boys went to Royal Rumble this year and got me the Royal Rumble belt. Shout out to Franklin and Prince. They got me the Royal Rumble belt that was only available at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, this is interesting because this was supposed to be out supposedly like a year ago, but the source of said information apparently was wrong once again. So we sit here and wait. Yes,
release that belt. I'm pissed about that. I wanted that belt. So
it's coming. At this point, I don't think it's coming. I mean, the Rock is going to be wrestling this year. I don't even know if he'll have the belt there. So I don't think they're going to put it out. I think it's done.
There's two other things I wanted to talk about. I'm going to say them real quick. They're not going to be long topics. I know you want some stuff you want to talk about. Number one, if there's any Pakistani makers watching this.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And I'm going to post threads about this because I want to show you guys the messages. Guys in Pakistan, harassing someone incessantly to buy a belt from you is not a sales tactic that works with Americans. Messaging from over a year. Mike, you saw this guy messaged me for over a year with no response.
Yep.
But would just every few weeks message me, "Hey, brother, how are you, sir? You don't care how I am. And how am I your brother? We've never spoken a word.
Love you, brother. How did he love you?
Yeah, love you. We've never spoken. Love you.
I love you. Yeah.
And so eventually I said, Mike, I'm gonna answer this guy. And I just said, what? And then he goes into this thing, and I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I got my makers. Mike will tell you, I was nice to this guy for 2 days. For 2 days. I said, all right, now listen, if I want something in the future, though, I'll reach out to you. I'll give you a shot. By the way, guy says to me, oh, yeah, make the best quality, top quality. How many times did he say top quality? Holy shit.
Yeah. Yes.
At least 50?
Around there, yeah. Something like that, yeah.
At least 50. All right, top quality. I said, bro, the letters SD are in the title of your group. I only buy HD or American. I was like, and then it says SD right in your group. Yeah, but I can do HD. I do HD. I said, well, you got any references? Again, look, I would have maybe bought one belt just to give him the business. He shows me references of SD wavy ass plates with paint all over the place, not even in the lines. I said, bro, even for SD, that shit, because there's good SD belts. He goes, oh, but I show you this one. Mike, I show you this one. This one's HD. This one's HD. He shows me a CNC belt. At first, tries to insist it's not CNC. This sumbitch had more lines than Scarface. Okay?
It literally looked like the suit that Beetlejuice wears. Like, it's like there was that many lines through the thing,
Yeah. I was like, normally sometimes it's hard to tell if there's like CNC. I was like, this is blatantly CNC. There was like a cross stitch pattern on the WCW United States. Like it was like an X and like almost like it was designed that way. Yeah. And like this cross stitch pattern. I said, bro, this is CNC. And I said, oh, brother, no, HD. I said, that's CNC. Oh, yes, but it's top quality. I said, you haven't shown me. Now, here's where it gets good. I told you I only do HD. You haven't shown me one HD belt, and he says to me,
"This is amazing. This is the one I got to build this up. This has to be built up. If there's, let's give a 30-second pause period. If you know somebody who's in the belt hobby, whatever, tell them to come here because you're not going to believe what
it's good.
Said. This may be the greatest, most fucked up thing a maker has ever said in the history of the belt hobby ever. I'm not joking. I'm not joking."
So I says to him, show me an example of HD that you've done. Brother, you send me money. Then I start doing work and then I show you. Wait a second. So you want me to pay you? Wait a few weeks. And then you're going to show me some pictures of HD, which presumably would be mine. So sight unseen, you would like me to pay you now, and then hopefully whatever you produce is actually HD. That's the plan we're going with here.
Yeah, I'll show you my HD work when you buy a belt from me, and I start making it for you. Then you get to see my HD work.
So I was shocked by this. So there's just two examples. So Pakistan makers, stop doing this. The other thing I want to tell you guys, just take 2 seconds. Start using UPS ground instead of USPS, because if I ship something UPS ground, first of all, it's usually cheaper than USPS. Secondly, the person will actually get it in a timely fashion. I have seen too many horror stories from USPS, including ones I've dealt with, where a 2 day priority package took 2 weeks. I actually, even if I buy stuff from eBay now, I'll message the seller like, dude, how much extra I got to pay to get UPS? I want UPS or FedEx.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
So stop sending with USPS. You can go to Pirate Ship and get a good deal on UPS. There's no reason to send USPS anymore.
No, I highly recommend you never use them.
Absolutely. So that's all my ranting today.
So I had not so much a rant, but a little observation. So I'm going to piss some people off right now when I declare once again that the hobby is dead.
It is.
You know, even though people don't like to hear that. How dare you? How dare you? I know you say
well, different parts of it. Different parts of it. The WWE shop part is not dead.
Yeah. Although I question that a little bit, though. I question, and I'm going to get into this. We and Carmine actually started having this conversation, was it yesterday or the day before? And he's like, we should do this on camera. No, Joe, there's not. No, not at all. Everyone hates the mic. Like, I'm a scumbag, just like Carmine, But at any rate,
I didn't see that. What did he say?
He says they're a delivery company that doesn't hate me. Like, no. It is,
No, there is not.
No. And I thought about maybe, since I know this will get some hate, I thought about maybe doing this like through anonymously, but I figured I should just, actually be who I am, since I'm not hiding. So here's the thing. You and I, Carmine and I, have talked many times.
That's just real quick. Do you say that? Like, that's a real, if you're going to talk, at least when we say some shit, we put our name to it. Like, if you're going to post anonymous, that's a real dick move.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows who the guy is.
Yeah.
Posting anonymous. Like,
I know.
It's fucking anonymous.
It's so funny when the rant went out about me from a quote unquote anonymous person, and I'm looking and I'm like, I know who this is.
Like, you're just I know who it is because I know who it is.
Yeah.
But you're just announcing that you're a coward bitch. Like,
and that's fine. Listen, be all you can be. But
just be a man. Say it with your chest.
Well, maybe you can. Maybe that's all. You can't be all. Maybe that's what he can't be. I don't know.
Believe me, you could unblock me, bro. I ain't gonna message you.
So, here's the thing.
The idea is to get me to see it.
Here's the thing. So we've declared the hobby dead multiple times. We know it triggers people, but we still believe it, because no matter what, you can't convince me. I don't think you can convince Carmine that it's as hot as it used to be. I mean, it's just not. I mean, it's just not like it used to be. I mean, but
dude, people were buying and wearing BAM and PTM shirts.
Yes. We had talked. They had talked legitimately about making BAM bobbleheads, like, as a real thing, and they would have sold. They would have sold.
Yeah.
I mean, we
everything we made sold.
We made shirts of like one of the worst people in existence, and they sold. It's just
too.
Yeah, it's just amazing what it used to be like. But here's the thing: I thought to myself, why do I think the hobby is dead? And so I started going through things in my mind, and I came up with what I feel are a few bullet points of this. So back around right before the pandemic into the early pandemic days, okay? That's when it really, really seemed to get hot. And I look back at those times, and I'm thinking to myself, well, you know what? Why? Because a lot of people came into the hobby at that point. And they came in because it was a new thing. I mean, I remember when I found out, I mean, imagine you're somebody who was a huge wrestling fan growing up, and suddenly, you encounter this thing. It's like, hey, you know what? Do you remember that belt that you? Oh, he left us. Do you remember that belt that you love? That's NWA television or whatever stuff. You can get that now. Like, even if it's not official, you can get that now. And people like like me love this. I still remember finding out, wait, I can get the ECW heavyweight championship made, like the one from like 1993 that used to be the tri-state belts. I can get that. Like, even though it's not on WWE shop, I can own that. And like, people were like enthusiastic about this. They loved this. They brought,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. It got people into, it got people into the hobby, and there was a huge influx of people who were discovering it, that like, hey, we can get these belts that we loved as children, or as young adults, or even as adults, and saw, we can actually own these things now. This is amazing. We don't have to go through WWE shop and only have their small selection. We could go get this made, and it was a really, really enthusiastic time, but the bottom fell out, and there's multiple reasons.
Boots had just become an accepted thing at that point.
Yes, and the bottom fell out for a couple reasons. Number one, I believe, anyway, this is me speaking for myself. I believe, number one, again, the pandemic, while both brought us to a height as a hobby, it also brought it down, because guess what? It was nice when people were getting their free money from the government, but that didn't last. And then eventually that money train stopped. And then people didn't have a job to go back to, or they had to focus on, hey, maybe I actually have to pay my bills this month because I only have.
And then they were in a hurry to sell the belts, so they sold them cheaper than they actually were worth.
Yeah, belts started going, and I'm just as guilty of this, because, and I'm perfectly honest here. When I lost my job, because I chose not to get a shot, even though people make fun of me for it.
And apparently that makes you evil.
That makes me evil, son bitch. Yeah. Again, scumbag. It all comes, it's full circle of life, man. Circle of life. Okay. But, I had to sell a bunch of belts, to help make some ends meet and stuff, because nobody would hire me because I wouldn't get a shot and stuff. And all this started, it was like the balloon that burst. It was I'm not going to say an artificial balloon, because I really think it was legitimately, people were enthusiastic about it, wanted to be part of it. But unfortunately, the economy and everything just, it burst, and then people had to do what they had to do. You saw
happens to a lot of businesses.
Yep. You had people dropping out of what do you call it? Dropping out in droves and selling their belts off and stuff. I think that was part number one that led now to, and again, I don't care what you say. The hobby to me has never reached that height again.
Ever, never.
People will say, like you said, well, WWE shop, but how great is it for WWE shop? Because again, if it was doing great, where's they won't make a classic Intercontinental. They won't, the classic tag team has been sold out for at least 6 to 8 months now.
Listen, I'll get to that. Let you finish what you're saying, then I'll say what I was going to say.
Okay, there's a lot of belts that they don't put back out again, and if they were selling so well and so hot, they would just keep manufacturing these things. Now their big focus now seems to be on the sports belts, the NHL belts, the NFL belts, the MLB. That seems to be the thing, and these event-specific ones, like the Golden Title, like the Survivor Series belt, the Royal Rumble, so forth and so on.
I'm shocked they ain't made a fantasy football belt yet with Fanatics.
Yeah, they might yet, to give them time, But but again, it's less cost, therefore less risk, because they're just basically reusing plates that already exist and just doing specific stuff to the straps. I mean, if you look at a lot of these belts, like, again, I have a Steelers belt, that's fine. But if you look at the NFL belts, they're basically only 4 different designs, and the only real difference is the strap or the logo in the middle. That's it. So they're they get a lot of use out of these things. But I don't necessarily think that WWE is, I'm not saying they're failing or something with these belts and stuff, but here's their point to that: side plates. They don't make any new side plates anymore. I mean, again, where are they? If they were selling,
man. That's
if they were selling huge, they would make them for everybody, but they don't. But so I feel that's part one in my mind that shows that the hobby.
Also, I think when you go back to the boots or the classic belts, you got to understand, I always say this: we're a niche of a niche. Okay, so the wrestling hobby in itself is a niche, like wrestling memorabilia collecting. Most of it is action figures. 80% of wrestling memorabilia collection is action figures. 15%, I would say, is autographs. And 5%, maybe 5% is wrestling belts. And that's mainly because of WWE Shop. Out of that 5%, 4% of that 5% are going to WWE Shop, Shop AEW. 1%, I would say, is in the boot market, in these groups, in this hobby. It seems huge to us. I'm the boss of a belt group. Nobody gives a shit.
Mhm.
It's a niche of a niche of a niche. And so I think when you talk about Intercontinental, Winged Eagle, the classic tags, the United States, all that shit that we were like, oh my God, I can really get this. Most people who wanted them got them.
Yep.
That's why makers are harassing you. That's why their prices are low. That's why you can get an HD belt for $400 now. It's because it's not there. When we started in the hobby, an SD belt was $350, 4mm zinc. SD
And
was $350.
that was as good as you could get. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the top of the line. Yeah.
and makers were firm on their prices. But most people have the belts they want. These guys in Pakistan are the ones I feel bad for the most because they're going to eventually have to get regular jobs. Because this is the other thing that hurt. 800 makers came into the game, all trying to undercut each other. Okay, I'll do it for this price, and the belts got crappier and crappier. And there was only a few of us that actually cared about what they look like, right? So they get crappier and crappier. The quality went down and down, and then people are spending 150 on a belt and going, "Oh, the bolt snapped off, motherfucker! You paid $150. What'd you want? What did you think you were getting?" Right?
Yeah.
So that's a $2,500 American belt. You got it for $150. What'd you think you were getting? So that hurt. And then the Eddie Williams thing really crashed the market because Eddie was selling belts for $100, $150 that were really good quality because he wasn't paying the maker. It was 100% profit.
Yep.
So I even said to him one time, like, dude, we can't compete. I'm like, I can't. I remember having this conversation with him. I said, I can't buy the belts from my guy for what you're selling them for. I'm like, how are you doing it? Oh, we get deals because I get a certain amount free. Because how the fuck money are you getting free, bro? I'm like, because you always got a belt on there for like dirt cheap. I'm like, and I can't get them from my maker for this price. And of course, he never told me. I'm a fucking thieving scumbag,
Yeah.
right? So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I want to get that back again, I think.
I do. I actually still have. I actually have two brass belts that were the two of the original, like the EC style ECW belts. But you know what? I didn't even care because those belts were pieces of shit anyway. So again, if, they don't look perfect. They weren't meant to look perfect. They look more like real belts than.
Correct. So I think that helped kill the hobby, and I think so when people look. Here's the truth: to get a good price, like if you're a seller, let me ask you guys a question. If the hobby was doing so good and belts were selling like crazy, why the fuck would all these middlemen and all these groups and these makers be focusing on raffles? The hobby is almost exclusively focused on raffles now. And if you want to actually make a profit, you've got to raffle belts, right? It's the only way. And it's weird to me that people are willing to spend $25 and lose it 10 times rather than buying a belt for $250. That's weird to me, but they're willing to do it. Whatever. The raffles seem to be the only thing that's actually hot. And then, I'm not saying like you guys go into your little chats every night and this is your world. Like this hobby is your world. And so when we say it's dying, well, that's like us telling you your whole world is dying. It's crashing down on you. I'm not saying that. Look, if those are your friends, they're going to be your friends, whether you got the hobby or not. So those little chats that are the focus and the center of your life, awesome. That's great because it was for us during the pandemic, man. We loved those chats, right? So, yeah, I'm not saying like it's dead, get out of it. I'm just saying you cannot. And so we have this argument with Nick all the time, who I love, but Nick wasn't here during the hot part of the hobby. So for him to say, well, it's not dead, you didn't see what we saw. You weren't involved at that part. You came at the tail end of that part, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I try to tell him. Again, I'm not ragging on Nick at all. He's a great guy. And it's hot for him. By the way, if I was going to buy a belt like today from a maker I didn't know, and I was somebody asked this the other day, I would absolutely go to Nick and Chris, Nick Carnival and Chris Stratton, and that's who I would deal with because we were talking the other day about like when they got rid of basically Eddie killed off the middlemen. And at least with middlemen, when I was doing middleman stuff and this and that, like, and guys can tell you, if they got a problem with one of my makers, the belt was bad, this and that, I paid that out of my pocket. Middleman is like the only real guarantee you have that you're going to get some, but there's no real middleman I would deal with anymore, because I don't think anybody does it anymore. I don't think Dustin does it anymore. Um, so the only real middlemen there are that I would go to is Chris and Nick. And at least you're going to get your belt. You're going to get a good experience. They always bring you into the chat with the maker, so it's a real, I would, if it's me, I'd go to X-Man. That's the only place I would go if I was new to the hobby. I didn't want to spend a fortune for belts. I wanted to get my just basic SD belts, and they make a very high quality SD. They don't make a cheap, crappy one. That's where I would go, So when people ask me, that's what I said. I send them to Nick and Chris, So yeah, there's no heat with Nick. I'm just saying I think he's wrong on this. I think to him the hobby's great, because I think X-Man Belts is doing great, and Big Boys Belts is doing great. But Big Boys Belts, as good as it is, and I think it's the hub of the hobby right now. I think it's the number one group in the hobby. As good as Big Boys Belts is, it's not what Brothers of the Belt was at that point. That group was white hot.
Nuclear. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was, yeah.
There was posts every 10 seconds.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to touch on that too in a little bit here.
Josh killed that.
But among other things. But here's the thing though. Like you said, you're talking about the makers, Eddie Williams, because here's the situation. Like you said, you have 174,000 makers that pop up every week. New guys. Like apparently that's the only business they have in Salcott, Pakistan. It's the only thing they do. Apparently is make belts. And, you had them all. And like you said, each one's undercutting each other. But you know what? Like I said, the quality is getting crappier. And people are looking at this and they're like, well, I'm getting pieces of garbage. And then Eddie Williams broke a lot of confidence in people for middlemen because of what he did.
Right.
With how many hundreds of people, at least, maybe more. I'm just guessing. We don't know a number. He screwed over that didn't get their belts because he never bothered to put the orders in. He just kept the money. And then he blamed the maker. And again, this really broke a lot of people's backs, like not wanting to be involved in this hobby, because they're like, well, these are scumbags.
And I don't think it recovered from that. I don't think it ever fully recovered from that.
Oh, and then the third thing, let's talk about Brothers of the Belt. Obviously, we didn't know at the time, but the proprietor, the creator, the quote unquote godfather of the hobby, although I still don't understand how he got that name. But he just was when I became part of the hobby. He just was, turned out to be, a scammer as well, a scammer of makers, not of customers, but of makers.
He didn't scam the customers, which is where he did better than Eddie.
Yeah. Eddie just
Eddie got so greedy that he scammed everybody.
Yeah. But there's
now he's making candy or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. So there's a group of people in the hobby that absolutely hate bootlegs. Hate them. Would like every single one to be burned. Would, if they could, they'd probably drop a bomb on Salcott, to make sure no boots were ever made again. Like, they just absolutely hate.
I understand, because the Silicott's undercutting their business.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, but here's the thing, though. We've heard multiple times, so many times, we don't want any problems. We just want to stay in our lane. We're not going to bring it. While they continuously come over into, quote unquote, our lane, if you want to call it that, as the people who bought boots,
kind of in both lanes now, but yeah.
But and when Josh allowed the de facto leader of these people into his group, that was the end of Brothers of the Belt, because exactly what I told him was going to happen happened. I said, this you can't. If somebody hates something so much, if somebody let's hypothetically say somebody has an absolute 100% hate of tomatoes. Okay.
I
Hates
love
them.
tomatoes.
I know, but let's just say somebody has a hate of tomatoes, cannot stand them. Once every tomato destroyed, once every tomato plant in the world destroyed, burned to the ground. No more, nothing with tomatoes of any kind. You don't let that, no matter what that person says, you don't like let them into
Greenhouse.
your spaghetti sauce factory, because it's not going to go well. And that's really what ended up happening. And sure enough, within a very short time, these people who hate bootlegs started going after anybody who had a bootleg. And
Didn't
I
take long either.
no, no, we're talking within a matter of a week or two. Like, and I knew it was going to happen. And I told him about it, and I was told basically shut the f up and mind my own f business. Okay, fine, whatever, and so that's what helped take that group down. But you know what? That to me, I also think that's part of what led to the hobby dying because you know, and it still goes on to this day. By the way, we've seen some stuff happen. That's just people can't there's some people who can't play well with others during in a certain situations. And when you have somebody out there who's like, hey, look what I got a WCW 5-player US or something. I'm so happy, and it's the belt I'm waiting for since I saw Sting have it and Rick Rude having stuff.
And then somebody's got to come along and piss on it. Yeah.
And piss on it and be basically like, well, you're a thief, and all this kind of stuff, and you should be, it's like, well, you know a lot of people got pissed off and walked away because of that shit too, because they were tired of getting attacked all the time. Ironic, considering some of the people who do this also delve into boots as well. Even though they hate boots, but they involve themselves with boots. In some cases, even selling them now. But that's okay. That's perfect.
You could say the name you're talking about if you want. Your opinion is not my opinion.
No, I'm keeping it as nice as I can. But but again, when people start getting attacked and started getting run down for the belts that they wanted, that a lot of people left that way too. I mean, again, is the entire hobby itself dead? No, I'm not saying. We're here. We're talking about we have we have belts. We bought belts today. So, but people won't understand what it was like unless you were absolutely there, how hot it was. I've said to people like this before, you can't understand, like, to give a wrestling analogy, you can't. I'm gonna put this up.
What is it? Hold on. Well, I mean, he is. That's what Mike's talking about. I mean, I'm not gonna
cough.
I like Dan. I'm not gonna defend him though. He's selling boots, and there's always an excuse of somebody died. I'm selling their collection. I don't know who the maker is. Like, so I like Dan a lot, but it does come off as hypocritical. And so that's who Mike was talking about. And I don't have a problem with it at all. Make your money, bro. Sell your shit. I don't have a problem with it at all. But you can't shit on other people for doing it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because even if you're helping somebody sell their collection because somebody died, like, you either have a moral stance against something or you don't, right? So
yeah, when you have a moral stance when it's convenient for you, but when it's not convenient, you just kind of throw it out the window.
And again, like Dan, think he's a good guy. Certainly not a thief or a scammer. He's, and I don't think he makes boots. I'm not going to say he makes boots. I don't think he does that, but I think, he maybe gets a hold of some, and, like, there was somebody today I was shocked to hear. I talked to Ron Edwardson today of Red Leather, and, he told me some stories, not about Dan. It's about somebody else who we haven't mentioned here. He told me some stories that I was shocked to hear, and I'm going to leave it at that because it's in confidence. But I'm just saying that, like, not everybody you think is a great guy. I used to think Ron was a bad guy. Ron actually is a good guy, and so I was wrong about that. But I had believed other people's crap, right? So I will say Ron will not make a boot for you, no matter how much money you offer him. So I mean, that's is what it is, right? At least he's true to his word. So yeah, I mean, listen, I have a Dan McMahon. Belt, and it's fucking gorgeous. It's a the NWA 50th anniversary. I think it's worth every penny I paid for it. And but do I think a Reggie Parks belt is worth $15,000? Fuck no, I don't think that. and that's absolutely psychotic. But if somebody's willing to pay it, get your money. Like, and if they enjoy it, good on them, right? Like, so I don't. It's not a thing for me.
Let me give a little bit of a wrestling analogy. When we sort of all of us, I'm not gonna say we all came into the hobby at the same time, because again, technically, I've been buying wrestling replica belts since 1998. You know, you were around the same time as me. You know,
Pancake, the pancake, absolutely.
yes, the Pancake World, WCW World. Yep,
That we loved.
we thought was the greatest thing ever. Yeah, but you know, when I look, but actually entering the quote unquote hobby proper, is in the groups, the Facebook groups, and all that kind of stuff, around maybe 2017.
Yeah, about that.
Around there, 16, somewhere around. But anyway, you know, when we entered the groups, I'm gonna use a wrestling analogy here. They were kind of like WWF in the early 80s. Okay. Decent, doing well, you know, but they were just chugging along, doing our way. Then when we started doing BAM, and we're gonna take credit for this. I don't give a shit.
Absolutely, 100%.
When we started doing BAM, and we started doing, you know, all that kind of stuff, it became sort of like, again, if you remember, you remember. You had to be there to understand, like the Rock and Wrestling Connection days, or even
Bam ignited the hobby, and anybody who denies that is lying.
Everything blew up to the point. Then eventually, again, there's many things like that, again, you know, that killed parts of it and brought parts of it down. And now I liken it to what it was like around, I'd say maybe 2011 WWE, you know, where you had the Miz as champion and everybody hated John Cena. It's still making some money. It's still doing well comparatively, but it's not where it was just a few years ago, where it was like the biggest good thing. And that's kind of what.
But we absolutely lit the fuse. BAM absolutely lit the fuse, because we made it. I remember even Josh saying it to me, like, BAM made boots acceptable. Yes, thank you, man. Yeah, I loved it. And Mike, yeah. 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 But I'll tell you this, and I'll let this go after this, because I gotta get going. I will tell you one thing I learned in the past couple weeks is the groups that say we don't want no drama fucking love the drama, or they only like the drama from certain people. Like, for example, and I'll call it out, and he'll know I'm talking about him, and it's okay. Again, we're still boys, but I've said it to him privately. So any group can turn off the ability to anonymous post. You can turn that off in a second. You can take out people who you know are using a fake name, like Pat Manetta. You can do that if you actually don't want drama in your group. And the one thing I've seen that's weird is that the people causing the drama, right? They're basically all from this other group, and they keep that group clean. They keep their own group clean, and they go to Big Boys Belts and they take a piss in the middle of the floor in Big Boys Belts, but they keep their group clean. And for the life of me, I've talked to Nick about this. I don't care. Like, you're not hurting me. You could talk about me all fucking day long. Go to X. People are talking about me right now. I don't give a fuck. I'm looking out for, like, I think Big Boys Belts is the hub of the hobby. And for me to see people pissing in it, I don't like. And I wish that they would put a stop to that, because, again, they're keeping their group squeaky clean and they're coming and peeing in your group. And I don't understand for the life of me how you allow that unless you like the drama. Now, I know me and Nick, we're drama lovers. Like, we should start our own group called Just the Drama. And it's just the drama in that group. Like, we love that shit. I love it. I love triggering people. I love that shit. But I think it's not cool if you got your own group that you come over to somebody else's group and piss in that group.
I'm going to address this, and I understand. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Sure.
But I will say this, though: shop belts have improved. I don't even know a percentage to put it at compared to what they used to be. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't call them toys anymore. The Winged Eagles that they produced, I think, are off the charts. The heavyweight, the world heavyweight, the one that's who holds it right now, right? The guy, the big guy, Gunther, off the charts. Yeah. The golden titles have great leather, cubic zirconia. So no, I don't think they're to me, I don't think they're the toys they were a long time ago. I used to feel exactly the same way that Vinny's saying he feels. I used to feel exactly the same way about it.
Yeah,
I don't
they
anymore.
were
The
garbage at
quality is,
one point. They literally were garbage at one point.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
the
were.
quality's so good now. So good
And you know what? I honestly think part of that was because of
of the
groups like
hobby.
this and the boots and all that kind of stuff. And people were like, "Hey, I could get a better quality belt for less time, for less money." And they were like, "Oh, we got to do something."
You can't tell me. I will claim full credit because I know they watched our podcasts. I know they watched BAM. I know they watched PTM. I know they watched Going Broadway when it was on. I know they watched it. I take full credit for them covering the screws on the back of the belts now. I take 100, well, 99. I take 99% credit. 98%. I'll give 2% to somebody else. I take 98% credit.
Here's a comment for you, sir. Just to do with what you will or won't.
Well, I won't say. I won't say. It's just I shouldn't even said what I said, but hold on. Talmadge and Tyler get a free pass in that click. But it is really mind blowing because I mean, no, I don't have any issues with Tyler. I don't know anything about Tyler, but like Talmadge, like who is he? Like who is he? Like I don't get that. And who's the other guy? The guy who never got over the fact that I didn't know who he was. Like that broke his spirit that I didn't know who he was.
Yes, Burt Ward. No,
He was great as Robin in the 1960s band. I just didn't know it was him.
But then after that, it went downhill.
Thank
you, sir. We all used to enjoy it. Yeah.
I like to call it the BAM era. I like that. Thank you so much. It was fun, Lane. Thank you.
Yeah, you're not wrong here.
It does.
You're not wrong at all, Isaac. Yeah, like Lane says, they do a great job.
Fantastic now, really, honestly.
I'm not pushing anything on anybody. I'm not telling you have to or you don't, or I'm not, or anything like that. But I will say this: if there's a belt you're thinking about, okay, that interests you, and it's available on the shop, I would say you have nothing to lose by giving it a shot because
they take returns.
Yeah,
if you don't like it.
Yeah, you might be completely surprised by what you get because I'll tell you what, I remember, was it last year? No, it was the year before, I guess. Yeah, I guess technically it was the year before when Carmine and was talking to me about the shop winged eagles and how great they were. And I was like, yeah, you can. But you know what? But I was like, well, I really kind of need a new one because
you were so gun shy from the crap winged eagle they had before.
Yeah. And you were like, no, now the bars are attached, all this kind of stuff. And I got that dual plated winged eagle. And
the strap was so good.
I'm still blown away. But it was so good, I bought 3 more from the shop. Let's put it that way. Two of which you can see in the corner up there.
I wouldn't. If I'm new to the hobby and I want a winged eagle, I get it from the shop. The other thing is the raw tag is unfucking believable. The heavyweight is unbelievable.
Yeah.
AEW shop does great shit. Their belts are off the charts. Official IWGP, if you can get your hands on them, I got one. They're great. But AEW and WWE shop are producing really top quality stuff. So, there's no need to boot to booting an AEW belt unless they. I understand why you would boot an AEW belt if it's not available on Shop AEW. Like if they haven't made a replica of it, and there's a lot of belts that they should make official replicas of that they haven't yet. But the ones that they actually have, I wouldn't get a TNT or an AEW heavyweight or an AEW tag from any place else but Shop AEW. There's no reason. They're fucking perfect.
Yeah.
I
mean, even I bit the bullet and got a V1 AEW world belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Carmine. So there you
go. Is the strap great? No, I got mine being re-leathered now, but you're not going to get better plates anywhere. You're not going to get better plates anywhere. Nobody can match that. So, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you can't get the real one from Ron. I wish you could. I would buy one. But he can't make them. And I don't blame him. If you're him, would you risk your fucking contract with AEW for it? No. So I don't blame him. I begged him. I begged him, but he wouldn't do it. But that's cool. Whatever. It is what it is. I understand. And if they ever, do allow him to make like X amount, because sometimes they do. If you remember back in the day, they let Reggie make X amount of officially licensed WWF belts.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ever do let Ron make X amount of officially licensed AEW belts, I'll be first in line to get one. I wish they would. You know, they put the license number on the strap like they did with the WWF ones. That would be great. I think you get. I think they would sell out in a fucking minute. Anyways, I got to get going. Is there anything else pertinent you want to talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We look forward to the arrival of our golden titles this week.
Tomorrow.
Points, yeah, for you tomorrow, for me a little bit later, but that's okay. You know,
you're the next day. You're the next day.
And obviously, there'll be pictures and stuff and everything. And I told Carmine he should buy himself a Money Inc. shirt and he should start wearing it now.
Not about money at all. It's luck. If anybody wants that last golden title I have, $2,000. If it didn't sell on eBay while we were on the show, because one of the next to last one did. If the other one didn't sell, then hit me up. If it did, then I'll let you know that I don't have it. But yeah. I mean, that's the price is the price. It's not negotiable. So anyway, don't hate on people because you don't hate on businesses that buy wholesale and sell retail. So with that, we love you guys. God bless you. What did Joey say? Stop it. It's not even like that. I don't. You know who's rich? Nick Carnival is rich. Talk to Nick. Big money Nick. That's what I call him. Guys driving around with a car worth more than people's houses. Talk to me about my Nick's rich. All right. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
We'll see you again, maybe soon.